2020 Summer Academy Rush season. We got Dignitas Academy taking on TSM Academy. I'm Steve Kangs. I'm happy to be on the cast yet again and excited to be bringing you these games. TSM Academy started off strong last night with a win over Team Liquid Academy. Dignitas Academy floundered a little bit against Golden Guardians. And the name of the game so far, if you've been watching Academy, if you've been watching LEC, it is long games, everybody. That's right. The season of 2019 is long gone. Spring we thought was long, but I have a feeling summer might be even longer as teams are just opting for scaling options and going for these big objectives late in the game. Baron and Elder Dragon are more important than they've ever been, and that's reflected right now in the draft from both of these teams. Dignitas, we're back to the Azir Corki meta, everybody. I'm sorry. I was disappointed when I saw it. I'm sure you're disappointed tuning in right now, but the scaling is what Dignitas is focusing on right now with the Ornn Azir, but they do have early game options with Lee Sin and Vera, so a fairly well-rounded composition. And TSM, I gotta say, I'm questioning what their plan is with this draft. I'm not seeing the ability to match the scale. I'm not seeing the ability to match the team fights as much either, so feels like clock's ticking for this composition. They gotta make some plays happen earlier on to kind of match what Dignitas was able to draft for themselves later on in the game. Unless Lost is able to come online. Aphelios, once you hit those couple items, is just a terror on the Rift, of course, as we've seen in other regions, as well as Academy. And TSM also with some comfort picks, keep in mind. Winston, new jungler for the organization. Eyes are always on TSM junglers anytime they come in, whether it's on the main squad, LCS, or the Academy, because TSM has a history of kind of rotating their jungler every single split. Winston, the newest iteration, second game on Trundle. So already at the beginning of the season, feels like TSM trying to give him something he's comfortable on, give consistency in performance. Had a great performance in last game in terms of objective control, but when you look at just the stat line 1, 3, and 3, it really felt like Lost and Treats and Evolved on the Zoe were the big carries for the team that time around. We'll see if they're able to repeat that, but zooming into what's happening in this game so far, pretty slow start to the game, just information gathering from Dignitas' side as Winston started on his red buff side, now moving towards the bottom half. And interesting to note, JJ didn't actually drop a deep ward where I thought he was going to. Is not placed down there, so Winston might have been spotted for a brief moment, but will not be tracked throughout the entire jungle. Dardoch, keep in mind, this Lee Sin was locked in last for this player, the old jungler for TSM, so maybe a little bit of revenge story here for Dardoch if he's able to get this win, but holding that pick, the last pick for Dardoch, definitely shows that they wanted him to have something he's comfortable on against what TSM's draft was. That means zoom in on Dardoch. We got to be tracking this player throughout the game. How is this Lee Sin going to transition Dignitas into that late game where their scaling will be so strong? I want to see Dardoch making some plays early on, and you already see he's willing to, fight Winston for that top scuttle. He's getting both scuttles for this early clear. It's a fantastic start right off the bat. And also pressure on Winston too. I mean, this is the jungler that was on TSM's main LCS roster in the spring, and now you're the brand new jungler on the Academy roster. A win here against Dardoch would mean so much for you and your standing with the organization of Team Solo Mid, but not going to go for this early gank bot side. I actually would have loved if he wanted to commit to this. There's no wards spotting him out, and Asta and JJ are far forward, but it's just so hard to go against a Tahm Kench, and that leads in to my point about TSM's draft earlier. They have some scaling with the Aphelios and the Corki, sure, but in terms of the raw front-to-back team fight, I'm still valuing Dignitas' composition more, and we're already seeing some action here as Dardoch's going towards the top side, gets the flash out of Dokla, Lorlo follows up, and an easy first blood goes to the top laner. Well played by Dardoch. He sees Dokla overextended and just easily picks up that kill there. Winston now comes in. He wants some of this gas, but just stopping the backs. He's taking a lot of damage as he's buying time for Dokla to teleport in, but I don't think they're going to get anything for that yet. It's just delaying the inevitable. Dardoch will be able to back here and pick up some more gold, or rather items for his gold. Good start for Lorlo. Is able to stay in lane. This is what Ornn does, it doesn't matter how much you poke him out, how much damage you're able to do to him. You can just buy items in lane. Now we'll go for that back, but he's going to be tanky as all heck right now against Okla. The Aatrox matchup is interesting in that the Aatrox can get ahead, can get these leads and try and bully around the Ornn, but really what you want to do is get the Aatrox to the team fight. But he's not the best frontliner, you know? Like, he does a lot of AoE damage. If he can get onto the backline, that's great. But you got to get onto a Lee Sin who can peel, an Azir who can self-peel, Varus who's got a Tahm Kench. Like, that's why TSM's composition, in my opinion, starts to fall apart as we see Dardoch getting even more aggressive. JJ flashing forward to get the slow. Winston ticking his health bar down, barely gets out of that one. This is aggressive play from Dignitas, not that we saw last night. I like this look here from the Academy roster, really putting the pressure to TSM Academy. Dardoch controlling the jungle, gets both scuttles, and now is pushing Winston out here. Yes, Winston has a slightly better clear at this point in time, but it feels like Dardoch, despite that, is actually in more control of this jungle. There are some wards down, so Dragon isn't up for grabs right now for Dignitas, but you gotta imagine that's the focus. You know, control this bottom half of the map, make sure that Trundle can't go for that early Dragon, and try and control these objectives. We've seen in LEC, we saw in Academy last night, the Dragon Soul is such an important objective right now because these games are going late, you know? Whoever's able to get these late game objectives just naturally has an advantage over the opponents. And Dignitas will be looking to control that throughout the game. We see still Dardoch on the bottom half of the map, still contesting this. And with Evolved pushed in, they might just start up this Dragon. If you can get the push bot side, that means that TSM will be losing out on XP, losing out on gold, but doesn't look like Dignitas want to do that quite yet. As Winston not even worried about the bottom half of the map. He's just going back to power farming his own jungle. And the Trundle pick, again, it's comfort. It also makes sense against this team composition. Your job is going to be target Lorlo in these team fights, but if you can't fully commit to the team fight with Dignitas' ability to peel back and fight on their own terms, it's just going to be so hard for TSM to actually make anything happen here. So I think pressure is more on TSM Academy to dictate how these team fights go and to find the right fights for themselves. But we're not in the teamfight stage yet. We're in the objective sneaking phase right now. Dardoch takes this Dragon for free. Winston is not even around the area. You got to imagine TSM Academy saying, yeah, we just got to give that up. We don't have priority mid. We don't have priority bot side. And Asta and JJ, while they just backed, they were in the area to back up Dardoch if need be. So great early start for Dignitas Academy. I mean, I'm giving them an A right now in terms of their performance. They got the first blood. They've controlled Winston in his jungle, making sure he can't get through the river. I mean, I don't believe he's gotten a single scuttle so far. And then they also get that Dragon. So Dardoch, hey, I mean, if he's got a grudge to settle with TSM, now is the time to do it for sure. Level 6 is getting hit by some of these champions means that we're more likely to see some of these fights actually break out. I'm looking at that Rift Herald thinking it's a juicy objective. There's a lot of champions that Dignitas wants to funnel gold onto, and as long as Dardoch can keep this control, that would be a fantastic objective for them to go to next. That requires pressure mid, and that requires most likely a lane swap from the bottom half, which is what we're seeing right now. JJ and Asta are roaming up. They're looking for their opportunity to find something onto Evolved. Asta had his ultimate available, but Evolved's playing very safe. He's got that package as well, so it's hard to actually lock down this Corki at this point in time. And because of this, actually, Asta and JJ are missing out on a lot of XP. TSM Academy, they just keep the pressure bot side, lost in treats, push in. They should be able to get a turret play here, but look at the all-in from Evolved onto Phoenix. So much damage there. Winston was nearby, but the pillar not actually going to impact the fight too much. Evolved just tried to find something there for Phoenix and gets the ultimate out of the Azir. That's a big cooldown for this team, but while that's happening, Dardoch's on the Rift Herald. He was able to solo that by himself, said, you know, I don't need my bot lane to roam up. I don't need solo laners. All I need is to see where Winston is and where the laners at TSM are, and no one from TSM Academy was able to actually do anything about that take. So Dardoch keeping his head cool, objective focused. Gold pretty much even right now as we're approaching the 10-minute mark, but the objective controls here for Dignitas, and you imagine once that Rift Herald goes down, the gold will start to swing back into Dignitas's favor. if I'm Dardoch, I'm looking at this bottom half of the map. I'm thinking Asta is playing Varus, a champion that is just strong at all points in the game. You're going to lethality build, so you will fall out a little bit later on in the game, but your job is to poke out Evolved and Lost. So no matter how late the game goes, no matter how tanky Dokla, Winston, Treats get, you're still going to be doing damage to the DPS. So the more gold you can funnel onto this champion now, the more you're going to be able to impact when you're looking for Dragon 2, Dragon 3, things like that. But we'll see where Dardoch believes the best place to drop that Rift Herald is, because if TSM Academy are thinking the same thing, they're thinking defensively. How do we prevent Dardoch from dropping this down and getting a full turret for it? Because, I mean, you can always drop it and get free plates, but objective should be the entire first brick here, which so far doesn't feel like either team's been able to push a turret that hard. We haven't seen a lot of early ganks. We haven't seen a lot of action outside of just Dardoch going aggressive on Dokla when he was overextended top side, but Dokla's got his flashback up, so we're not going to see a repeat up there. I actually wouldn't have minded that once Lorlo hit level 6, but back to just scaling for right now for both of these teams. Again, shouldn't surprise anybody. This is what we're expecting. This is what we're seeing all over the world right now. The meta has slowed down. We're no longer in the Aurelia Akali, everybody jumping around crazy, solo carrying these games. It's all about team fight and all about objective control and how you can draft your team composition around that. I'm surprised that TSM Academy even left up the Varus. This has been 100% presence in every region so far. I mean, I know we're only 1 week into the summer split, but still, the Varus is an incredibly strong champion on patch 10.11. And TSM, instead, they opted to ban Ezreal, Callista, and Graves. I mean, Graves, I absolutely think warrants that first round ban, but I question the Ezreal and Callista leaving that Varus up, which Dignitas were more than happy to grab first. But in terms of just raw power in the early game, at least Asta hasn't really been popping off, so TSM Academy might be looking at that thinking, okay, we're happy with this matchup. We get the Aphelios into the Varus. We can just nullify this lane pretty much. And Dignitas Academy haven't done much with the Varus yet. Now, I emphasize yet, because I definitely imagine that will change as this next dragon will start to appear. Winston appears on the bottom half of the map just to help them push out. They really want to control this priority and then roam up towards this dragon. It's still 10 seconds away, but if they can control vision around here and just be first to the dragon, that means that Dignitas has to approach them. But we see Dignitas more than willing to do that. Look at Lorlo. He's walking down from the top side. Dokla will have to TP if there's a 5v5 team fight. We might see a team fight way earlier than I initially expected. TSM, oh, the death sentence goes wide. Dignitas, they're just approaching. They say, we will take this fight. Winston gets popped way too fast. That fight a little longer than I expected, but great Emperor's Divide by Phoenix. There's a couple more coming in from Dokla, but it's too little and too late. Dignitas already pick up 2 kills. They can drop that Rift Herald mid, and this should be their dragon. Well played by Dignitas. I love Lorlo's willingness to just roam bot right away. He's down 20 CS, sure, but you're the tank, you're the initiation that the team needs. And when you're able to get to that fight so much faster than Dokla, that was essentially a 5v4. Dokla teleported after 2 members had already died. So didn't get much done for that cooldown of that summoner spell. And with Lorlo being there, Dignitas easily had the number advantage, easily had the team fight composition to just run through TSM. And TSM, they got a great option to go forward, but their peel back is not as strong as Dignitas. So they just got run through there. It doesn't matter that you're first to the dragon. If you only have 4 and the enemy team has 5, you are in trouble. So Dignitas scaling towards that dragon soul that much quicker. They got the Infernal Dragon, and I believe it will be an Ocean Rift if I saw that correctly. The extra team fight ability. I feel like Ocean Rift is just so strong right now, especially with these teams that are drafting like beefy front lines like the Ornn. Tom Kench even turns into a monster front line when you have that Ocean Drake. You got to get through 2 health bars that are both healing essentially. It's like, what are you supposed to do about that? And how are you supposed to pick Asta? How are you supposed to pick Phoenix when you got the Lee Sin kick, you got the Tom Kench Devour to save them? TSM Academy, they've been on a timer pretty much the whole game. I still, like, they have scaling options, but I'm still holding to that. They're not going to scale as well as Dignitas, and Dignitas Academy have the early lead as well. I feel like Dardoch has been, you know, playing immaculately so far in this early game. I've casted Dardoch before. I've been a critic of some of his early game performances, but this is not one of those. He is controlling the tempo. He is in the right places at the right time. He's got 2 dragons and the Rift Herald, as well as that first blood, so definitely contributing here to the team. Also, shout out to Lorlo. 100% kill participation so far into the game. 15 minutes has been crested, so no turret plates available. No turrets have gone down either. And Winston is just so willing to show himself bot side. This is, I don't see this often from junglers where they're just willing to go in, but they got a vault here too. They get the flash out of JJ. Tried to force the fight essentially, but Lorlo's teleported down. Has called the Forge God. TSM's got to be careful. Oh, it was Phoenix actually that teleported down. Lorlo teleported top side. Interesting decision from Dignitas. I feel like if Lorlo had teleported to the bottom half of the map, that might have been a 1-team fight for them, but either way, that's just going to be a teleport down for Phoenix. The TSM Academy can walk away saying, okay, we got some cooldowns. They can no longer make these crazy cross-map plays, but they still have the top control with Dardoch. Oh, too far forward, my friend. TSM, they have the ability to pick with this Thresh, and they find their man. Dardoch goes down way too far forward in the enemy jungler. Or enemy jungle, rather. Uses the flash. JJ tried to ult over to give him an option to jump to, but it was too late, and that mistake will give TSM Academy an opportunity to get back into the game. Dignitas still pushed fairly far forward here on the bottom half, but they got some time to back off. As Loss is taking some poke here from Asta, but regardless of the kill, it doesn't feel like TSM Academy can get much. I mean, there's really no objective on the map. The Rift Herald's up, but Winston was bottom. Even if he runs right up to the top side, Dardoch will be up in time to go contest that if he so pleased. So it's just the gold, it's just the kill onto Dardoch, meaning that he will not be able to farm as efficiently here, but Winston is struggling now at this point in the game to keep up in the farm of Dardoch. He had that early lead as the Trundle. Trundle's got a fantastic early game clear and feels strong pretty much at any point in the game, but Dardoch has been doing a great job of catching up, staying ahead, and now even though he's died there, he should be able to stay on pace with Winston in the jungle clear. And back to the mid lane, Phoenix versus Evolved. We haven't seen a lot of action between these two. Evolved rather tried to get a little damage onto Phoenix with that earlier package, but other than that, it's honestly been team fighting when they can group up, when they can find enemy members that are not each other, they try and go for it. But eventually we'll start to see these two champions be able to pop people very fast. I'm looking at the Azir combos, I'm looking at the Corki with the package combos, and if the other mid laner is not paying attention, you can actually take them down very, very fast. So you gotta stay on your toes, you gotta be careful if you're Phoenix or if you're Evolved to not get complacent in this matchup. I know it can be boring in the early game, but it ramps up once you hit the 20-minute mark, once they get 2-3 items. As the first turrets do start to go down, Dignitas pick up the first one on the bottom half. TSM Academy answer with a second of their own on the bottom half of the map. And that's pretty much an even gold differential between the two. It's 29k to 28.5 for TSM Academy. Dignitas, they're happy with this right now. If they can stay even and just keep scaling, they will be in a fantastic position, and they're doing the exact same play they did last time. Lorlo just sacks the top farm. He walks down, joins up with the team. TSM Academy, yeah, Dokla, you're getting that gold solo, but if you're losing all these dragons, is it going to be worth it? Here's the team fight. Dokla's over the wall, but again, he's not with the rest of the team. It's a 5v4 essentially. Now he joins in, but everyone focuses Dokla, but it's too late. He trades his life, but two members of Dignitas fall. Make it 3. They get the dragon, but they lose the team fight. TSM Academy win their first fight of the game. What more can they get for it? They're looking mid. They're looking to pressure this turret. That feels great for the squad that has been struggling to find anything up to this point. Looks like split call here. They're going for the mid turret. They're also going for the Rift Herald. They should be able to get both with all members up on the map. Dokla teleporting over the wall. At first I thought it was a mistake. I was like, you're too far away from the team, man. You got to get into this fight at some point. Otherwise, it's just a 5v4, but on the front line, Dignitas, it felt like Lorlo wasn't where he needed to be. He needed to be right up so that Evolved and Lost couldn't hit anybody but him. He was a little too far back, worried about peeling for Dokla instead, and because of that, members from Dignitas fell way too fast in that team fight. Phoenix was able to output a lot of damage himself, but Asta fell way too fast. JJ wasn't able to keep his carry alive, and because of that, TSM Academy just run through that team fight. I mean, saving grace for Dignitas Academy, they still got the Dragon. Great smite from Dardog coming in, keeping that level head in the heat of the moment. But TSM, if they can find more fights like that and just continue expanding this gold lead, then they will put themselves in a fantastic position, sans those Dragons. No soul yet for Dignitas Academy. TSM Academy still have the opportunity to get the next 4 Drakes and get that soul if they so please. Dokla looking to play around with Phoenix a little bit. Oh, Phoenix, beautiful play, gets the flash out of Dokla, but now you don't have the ultimate, and Evolved is here. Shut down onto the Azir for Evolved. Great bait from Dokla. He knew if he could just get Phoenix to play a little too aggressive and use that Emperor's Divide, then, hey, guess what? Evolved's there. He's got the package, and he can jump in from a mile away, picking up that kill 3, 1, and 2. Evolved's having a great game. And keep in mind, Evolved was the primary carry in that game last night that TSM Academy played against Team Liquid. Went 6-1-4 on the Zoe. This is a young player, brand new to Academy as of last split, and has been performing immaculately. We don't see a lot of these young guys come into Academy and impress right off the bat, but I think Evolved is an exception to that rule. He has had some great performances on a variety of champions. The Zoe last night, now the Corki today. And once you get that Trinity Force completed as the Corki, you are online, everybody. Evolved should be able to put out a lot of pressure and a lot of damage during these team fights. And if Lorlo's not that front line, if the Ornn isn't standing at the front of the pack, then this Corki can just shred through everybody. Dignitas Academy, they got to be careful as they continue forward in this game. They can't let this gold lead balloon out of control. It's only 2K. Not the end of the world right now, but it's on the carries of TSM Academy. It's on the Corki, it's on the Aphelios. So Dignitas, they gotta be aware of that and respect that as well. If they're going for this 4th Dragon, they might not be able to brute force it this time. I mean, they lost the team fight for Dragon number 3, and they had to smite steal it, essentially, away from TSM Academy. They might not get that opportunity for Dragon number 4. So while an Ocean Drake Soul would feel amazing for this team, they got to be patient, they got to be careful about how they want to go about it here. Dignitas, they have the inside lane here on the mid side. They want this turret real bad, and they do take it. And now Lorlo's looking for a pinch. This might be an engage from Dignitas. I don't know if they can actually find it. Yeah, Lorlo doesn't want to go for it. Has Call the Forge got available, but doesn't see the opportunity to actually go in for that play. Dignitas now with a turret lead. Still the Dragon leads, but no gold lead. Their objective control has been immaculate. It feels like they're doing the right thing at the right time. You know, Lorlo's grouping up when the team is ready to go for these objectives. They're going for the engages when they can find them, but TSM Academy, these players, the caliber that they're coming in with, they just have the ability to outplay their opponents, essentially. And especially factor that into Dignitas' 10-man roster, essentially. The Rift, their Barons rather started up. It's snuck away by TSM Academy. Dignitas from right under their noses. Call the Forge God comes through. Dignitas, they have to go for this fight. If they can't get a couple of these kills, that is a huge loss. They do take down Winston, but TSM Academy, they snuck it under all of our noses. The Baron gone at 23 minutes. They have a great Baron taking composition. Corki and Aphelios do a lot of damage per second. That's exactly what their plan was that entire time. But they might be stacking that for this Dragon Soul. It's up in 10 seconds. The jungler went down. Winston's not going to be up in time for this to even spawn, let alone to get there in time. So yeah, you get the Baron, but losing that jungler does not feel good for TSM Academy when you factor in the longevity of the Dragon Soul. This will be on every member of Dignitas for the rest of the game, whereas Baron will only be up for a couple minutes. So TSM Academy, they do get the mid turret tier 2 here. Good Baron push. Maybe they can find a pick for their trouble. Streets trying to find it. The teleport coming in onto the backline. No Call the Forge got available, but JJ flashes forward, tries to get that stun. They're going out to Treats, and they find the Thresh. One more pick here for Dignitas after getting that Dragon Soul. And you saw how scared TSM Academy were. They did not want to fight that. The plan was get out of dodge. But Dignitas, they have these teleports. They have JJ's top Genshelter. They have all these tools to get on to TSM while they're disengaging. And again, TSM Academy do not have the best disengage options on their team, so without Winston's pillar there, without Evolved having the package, it was difficult to stop Dignitas from just running them down. But they still have that gold lead, they still have this Baron, so honestly, this game could still go either way. Dignitas has gotten every single dragon, but the turrets are tied up, and TSM still have this Baron for a few more minutes here. I believe about a minute. How much can they get for it? It's about gold versus the worth of these dragons. And if TSM Academy can balloon this gold lead even more, then you got to start factoring that as the better play, essentially, when they can keep funneling the gold onto their carries. Looking at Aphelios, TSM Lost has the Infinity Edge and the Runons completed along with the next Zeal. Slow down the build a little bit for the Executioner's Calling, because you're looking at the Lee Sin healing as well as I guess Tom Kench. I'm actually, I suppose it's just for the Ocean Dragon Soul. Trying to get that onto as many members as possible. Fellas can really spread that damage around, so making sure that the Dragon Soul does not heal up as much. But then you look at Evolved, Trinity Forest, got the Manamune fully stacked, and has a Zeal item for himself as well. So these carries on the side of TSM Academy, you can't sleep on them. They are going to be doing a lot of damage in these fights, but can they do enough to get through the Ocean Soul is the question. They're trying to use the last of this Baron buff to take this top tier 2 turret, and they might actually be able to take it down here. Oh, Asta throws out the Chains of Corruption. Does not land onto Evolve, so ultimate down. They waited out the Baron though, so TSM Academy will not be able to siege with that anymore. And now Winston, oh, are you caught out? Dardock doesn't want to go for it. They don't have any vision on that side of the jungle. TSM Academy have choked out all of that vision while they were pushing. And they're continuing the siege. Even without the Baron buff, they still feel confident that they can walk up and just take this turret for free. Dignitas, though, they don't want to give it. Call the Forge got used, but great disengage from the Thresh. TSM, if they're in position, they can disengage with this team composition. And that was an instance where they were in position to do just that. Great use of the Lantern by Treats, getting his carries to safety right there. And that's another long cooldown. It was JJ ulting in, and it was Lorlo using Call of the Forge Gods. So 2 ultimate cooldowns means that TSM Academy can just keep playing around the map. That 2k gold turned into 3k gold, turned into 4k now, as Dokla this entire time has just been pushing the bot side. And you see the CS differential between the top laners. I mean, eventually this will amount to a sizable lead for the Aatrox. Dokla has been so willing to stay in a side lane, to get the solo experience, the solo gold, and the advantage for himself, whereas Lorlo has been grouping up with the team, trying to teleport in, trying to walk down and use that Call to Forge God whenever it's up to help the team fights. If you keep doing that and you're not finding the team fights, eventually Dokla will just be too far ahead and you won't actually be able to deal with him alone in the side lane. Now it's TSM Academy's time to group up, though. Look at Dokla, teleported deep onto the top half of the map, and there's a death sentence onto Asta, the best member to catch. JJ keeps him alive, has to flash for that. Asta gets out of danger. Dokla still on the flank. I don't know if Dignitas has spotted him. Oh, Dokla. Oh, watch the Aatrox. He's got perfect sight on Asta. Pops the ultimate. He's going to look for it. Asta, is he watching? Does he notice this? Dokla's onto the backline, gets a 3-man knockup into 2-man knockup into 3-man again. But they can't actually get the AD carry. Dignitas is in full retreat right now. The AoE damage of Lost and Evolved is so strong, and that flank from Dokla was just too much for Dignitas to deal with. They cannot continue this pressure on the mid lane, which means TSM can just walk this wave up. They opt not to, though. They know that there's that Ocean Drake. They know that Dignitas can just heal up and re-engage this fight, and TSM, their health bars are a little too low, and this is the problem. Even if you have this gold lead, even if you're able to win the fight, if you can't deal with a disengage of Dignitas' composition, you're not going to win a prologued fight. Because, yeah, you got the Executioners, but that'll cool down after 5 seconds. And then they'll just be able to heal up after they walk back into their own jungle, back to their Fog of War, and then re-engage onto you with the likes of a Tahm Kench ulting behind you, with the likes of Lord Low, Call of the Forge God. So, TSM Academy, they need to find more for these plays. I loved that teleport from Dokla. Went so deep and was unspotted for so long, but just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Asta was able to play safely enough, and now the Baron is being started up here by the side of Dignitas. We see 3 members of Dig kind of corralling TSM, making sure that they stay away. Dokla's caught out all by himself. This is great for Dignitas if they can catch him. Oh, Dardock, though, uses that kick, actually pushes Dokla back to safety. And the Baron is stopped. The TSM Academy, they really don't want Dignitas to get that. If Dignitas get that, that means a lot of gold in their pocket instantly, and also now they can siege onto TSM Academy, and suddenly that gold lead that you've been working so hard for this whole game just disappears. We're approaching 30 minutes into the game. These big power spikes are getting hit by a lot of these carries, and TSM Academy still in a position of power right now. I mean, you're looking at Evolve with 3 items completed to Phoenix with 2.5 essentially. TSM Academy, I think that this is a time that you have to fight. You can't just let Dignitas continue to scale and continue to get these objectives. Elder Dragon's on the table, so is Baron, and so Dokla on the flank yet again. Single-minded on this champion. Dignitas pinging it out. They don't know where Dokla is. They spot him now on that ward. Dignitas, they have to stop TSM from getting this Elder Dragon. If TSM Academy gets this, look at the ball, jumps in, they try and lock down Asta, and they do! The carry's gone, and Dignitas cannot hope to win the fight after that. It's going to be a clean sweep if they can catch Lorlo here, but either way, they got everyone that mattered. They can turn their attention onto so many objectives now. TSM Academy off the back of Evolve, pull the trigger, and find a huge team fight. They might just go for an inhibitor right now. They push the bottom turret. They still have a few minions here, along with tanks that can tank these up. There's no way they go for the game, right? 30 minutes in, they're pushing the inhibitor. They might go for the whole thing, everybody. TSM Academy just went from 0 to 100 so fast. They get the Nexus turrets, they'll take down the Nexus, and they will go 2-0 in their first week of Academy in summer 2020. it's up to help the team fights. If you keep doing that and you're not finding the team fights, eventually Dokla will just be too far ahead and you won't actually be able to deal with him alone in the side lane. Now it's TSM Academy's time to group up though. Look at Dokla teleported deep onto the top half of the map, and there's a death sentence onto Asta, the best member to catch. JJ keeps him alive, has to flash for that. Asta gets out of danger. Dokla still on the flank. I don't know if Dignitas has spotted him. Oh, Dokla. Oh, watch the Aatrox. He's got perfect sight on Asta. Pops the ultimate. He's going to look for it. Asta, is he watching? Does he notice this? Dokla's onto the backline, gets a 3-man knockup into 2-man knockup into 3-man again. But they can't actually get the AD carry. Dignitas is in full retreat right now. The AoE damage of Lost and Evolved is so strong, and that flank from Dokla was just too much for Dignitas to deal with. They cannot continue this pressure on the mid lane, which means TSM can just walk this wave up. They opt not to, though. They know that there's that Ocean Drake. They know that Dignitas can just heal up and re-engage this fight, and TSM, their health bars are a little too low, and this is the problem. Even if you have this gold lead, even if you're able to win the fight, if you can't deal with a disengage of Dignitas' composition, you're not going to win a prolonged fight. Because, yeah, you got the Executioners, but that'll cool down after 5 seconds. And then they'll just be able to heal up after they walk back into their own jungle, back to their Fog of War, and then re-engage onto you with the likes of a Tahm Kench ulting behind you, with the likes of Lord Low, Call of the Forge God. So, TSM Academy, they need to find more for these plays. I loved that teleport from Dokla. Went so deep and was unspotted for so long, but just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Asta was able to play safely enough, and now the Baron is being started up here by the side of Dignitas. We see 3 members of Dig kind of corralling TSM, making sure that they stay away. Dokla's caught out all by himself. This is great for Dignitas if they can catch him. Oh, Dardoch, though, uses that kick, actually pushes Dokla back to safety. And the Baron is stopped. The TSM Academy, they really don't want Dignitas to get that. If Dignitas get that, that means a lot of gold in their pocket instantly, and also now they can siege onto TSM Academy, and suddenly that gold lead that you've been working so hard for this whole game just disappears. We're approaching 30 minutes into the game. These big power spikes are getting hit by a lot of these carries, and TSM Academy still in a position of power right now. I mean, you're looking at Evolve with 3 items completed to Phoenix with 2.5 essentially. TSM Academy, I think that this is a time that you have to fight. You can't just let Dignitas continue to scale and continue to get these objectives. Elder Dragon's on the table, so is Baron, and so Dokla on the flank yet again. Single-minded on this champion. Dignitas pinging it out. They don't know where Dokla is. They spot him now on that ward. Dignitas, they have to stop TSM from getting this Elder Dragon. If TSM Academy gets this, look at Evolve, jumps in, they try and lock down Asta, and they do! The carry's gone, and Dignitas cannot hope to win the fight after that. It's gonna be a clean sweep if they can catch Lorlo here, but either way, they got everyone that mattered. They can turn their attention onto so many objectives now. TSM Academy off the back of Evolve, pull the trigger, and fight a huge team fight. They might just go for an inhibitor right now. They push the bottom turret. They still have a few minions here, along with tanks that can tank these up. There's no way they go for the game, right? 30 minutes in, they're pushing the inhibitor. They might go for the whole thing, everybody. TSM Academy just went from 0 to 100 so fast. They get the Nexus turrets, they'll take down the Nexus, and they will go 2-0 in their first week of Academy in summer 2020.